Sean Duffy with me this morning. What do you think? I'm saying that the Democrats are in disarray. They're trying to prop up the president with this shouting down of Kennedy. What a mess.
It's a complete mess. And so first, I mean, Democrats and Kennedys go together, right? And to be Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and to come to a hearing and have Republicans let him speak and Democrats actually shout him down and want to shut him up. I think what you've seen is that the Democrat Party is not the party of John F. Kennedy Jr. It's not the party even of Bill Clinton. They have gone so far left. And I think RFK is probably a traditional Democrat. Again, I don't agree with him on a lot of things, but he's more in line with those traditional Democrats. And these guys have lost their mind. But you mentioned Joe Biden. I mean, I think what we're seeing is the slide and the slip is happening much quicker, Stuart. I mean, even go back 2 years.
His performance, his cognitive ability.
Yeah. So you'll notice he's now not wearing dress shoes. He's wearing very soft rubber shoes with the suits. When he boards Air Force One, he doesn't walk up the front steps, which goes to his office at the tip of Air Force One. He's walking in the back steps, at the back of the plane, because there's 10 steps less to walk up at the back of the plane. He has to walk through all the staff and the press. And by the way, we know we hate the press and politics. He has to walk through them all to get up to his office. That's how bad it's gotten for him.
I know we've talked about this before, but I just can't see Joe Biden being the candidate in the election next year. Somehow or other, I think the Democrats have to get him out somehow.
Listen, but I think if that was the case, first of all, I'm shocked that they're going to keep him in, the pole position and going to be their candidate. I wonder, what do Democrats know that we don't know, Stuart? I'm not going to go there, but I don't know what they know and why they're going to run him. But if they were going to move him out, there's certain things they would do, right? They would start to run stories, push stories on him that make him unelectable and open the gates for another Democrat to step into, a Gavin Newsom, which I think a lot of Democrats would like. They're not doing that. The press isn't doing it. The Democrat Party isn't doing it. They're all behind him, which begs the question, how can you bring someone else in to a race when everyone is supporting Joe Biden? And again, I think you and I, as just average Americans, look at his performance and go, this is a disaster. How do you run this guy and think you win?
Well, how do the Republicans take advantage of what is obviously turmoil within their opponent's party? Are they taking advantage? Are they doing the right thing?
Well, listen, I think you have to run on ideas. You can't run on, that guy's really bad, so vote for me. You got to run on, what are my ideas to make the economy better? What's going to make the borders stronger? How are we going to have more prestige on the global stage with a stronger economy? How do we fight China? You have to come out with your own ideas. But I think the story that we saw with the IRS whistleblowers and the money that was made from foreign entities, not just to Hunter Biden, which is really a non-story. Yeah, he committed crimes, but did that actually go to Joe Biden? I think that's only going to get hotter, and that's the one issue I think that Democrats will not be able to ignore. And if it comes out that he did take money, the $5 million from Burisma, I do believe that will sink his chances in 2024.
If that can be proven, if Chuck Grassley is right, and he can prove it, that's a real problem.
And they're not there yet.
Not quite there. Nope, that's for sure. Sean, we'll be watching you on The Bottom Line tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern.